You're someone who has unfortunately had the share of injuries. Can you talk about what goes through an athlete's head when they're dealing with an injury?
You gotta just be strong in that point of time and just keep focusing on your work that has to be done.
How difficult is it for you to take also? How do I have a conversation with someone who's not gone through this, what I'm going through?
It's a bit tough because not everybody knows how it feels for a player to be injured or to be out of their circuit, but definitely it's something that India being a very cricket dominant sport, everyone understands how cricketers' life functions, but not any other sport. But I think it's getting better, and people are starting to realize that what a player goes through, what are the work they do on a daily basis, or how much they work behind the scenes to give their best on court.
Hello and welcome to TOI Sports. I'm joined by Shrivalli, Indian tennis player today, to speak about her journey, about what we can expect from her going forward. Shrivalli, thanks for joining so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Shrivalli, I'm going to sort of focus on one aspect of a tennis player's career, which is the injury. I mean, we look at the sport side quite a lot, where this is actually a much bigger or much more important side of the sport that does not get that much attention, that does not get highlighted that much when, I mean, you're not on the court, so you're spending a lot of time on off the court, and you're someone who has unfortunately had the share of injuries. There was a knee issue last year, a back issues flared up this year, which prevented you from playing the Billie Jean King Cup in Delhi. Can you talk about what goes through an athlete's head when they're dealing with an injury?
Yeah, definitely it's a tough phase for any athlete because what keeps them going is being on court, competing, playing tournaments. But yeah, definitely injury phases are tough, and every athlete wants to get back onto the court really quick. But it's part and parcel of the game. At some point, everyone faces this, and you gotta just be strong in that point of time and just keep focusing on your work that has to be done because this is also part of the process. It's not like it's the end, it's the fact that you have to get back to what you were before, so the work doesn't stop. So you always try to give your best even when you're not on court and try to get back. So yeah, I think at that point of time having a proper team with you who can support you like mentally also helps a lot because that's when you're at your lowest, and having someone close knitted with you who can like push you every day, I think that's the most important part.
Which aspect of a career is this most difficult? I mean, is this more a physically draining, physically difficult aspect when an injury occurs, or is it more mental that you have to sort of not just figure out how to get around that injury, but also tell yourself that this is part of the journey?
I think it's mentally more draining because you're not doing something that you have done all your life or something that you love the most and something you're good at. So it's mentally more draining that you're not being out there. But physically, I would say that you know how to work through it. You've been doing work all your life. So physically, it's not that tough, but mentally, it's a bit draining. And I think that's when it's most important that you just focus on your work and not think too much and just do what you have to do on a daily basis.
If you can give examples of what did you do last year and what did you do this year, whenever those sort of moments occurred, how did you get around to it? And when you say you deal with it mentally, what does that entail?
The first major thing of anything is that to give it the proper rest that it needs and to do the proper rehab because you don't want to have it once again, or you try to be at your fittest. So I think addressing that and accepting that it has happened to you is the first phase of it. And I think that's what I've learned through these phases. And I've had a team who's been good to tell me that, okay, this is the thing you have to do, or this is how you need to progress all the way through. So I think that's been the major support for me.
What role does your family, friends, people play, or people around you who are not in tennis play in this entire process?
My parents have been the most strongest emotional support or moral support that I need. They're the backbone for me. And every time I'm in a crisis or every time I'm at my low, the first person I go to is my mom, and I try to vent out everything that I have. She's the most, like, sometimes all you want is someone to listen to you, not give you answers. So that's my mom for me. I just go and talk to her, and I immediately feel that calm. And my dad, he gives me like, okay, maybe this is the thing you have to do. Why don't you look at this option? So he's good with suggestions in that way. So they have been my guiding force all through.
When it comes to parents, when it comes to people who are not in tennis, who are outside that ecosystem, how difficult is it to sort of work with them, to speak to them that this is part of my journey, that this is happening? How difficult is it from for them also, and how difficult is it for you to take also, that how do I have a conversation with someone who's not gone through this, what I'm going through?
It's a bit tough because not everybody knows how it feels for a player to be injured or to be out of their circuit. But definitely, it's something that India being a very cricket dominant sport, everyone understands how cricketers' life functions, but not any other sport. But I think it's getting better, and people are starting to realize that what a player goes through, what are the work they do on a daily basis, or how much they work behind the scenes to give their best on court. So it's getting better, and I do feel that a lot of people that I talk to are able to understand what I'm trying to tell them and understand where I'm coming from.
And when these sort of injuries occur, I mean, last year, for example, you were not able to play in the tournaments that you would have qualified for, given your rankings. This year, you had plans to play the Billie Jean King Cup. You were in the mix up until the last week, and then the plans had to change. How difficult is it from a planning perspective when these sort of things occur?
Definitely, it was a little disappointing that I couldn't play the tournaments that I scheduled from. But at the end of the day, I had to accept the fact that and give the rest that it needed and work and make it better, and so that I don't have it tomorrow again. So it's always about addressing the right thing than actually, being in that phase of disappointment for a long time, because then you're not going to work or you're not going to like push yourself to get back. So I think addressing and accepting the fact that, okay, I'm not feeling my 100% today, so I have to work through it, get back, and then progress forward. So I think that was important for me.
What have you learned really about yourself as a person in these sort of moments? I mean, you're obviously learning throughout, as an athlete, but these sort of moments are more testing, I would imagine, than say a loss or back to back losses. They are still at least happening on the court. These things are happening off the court.
I've always been someone who's believed that someone who stays neutral even when it's a loss or a win is the person who's learned the most in that field of theirs. So I've always been someone who's been very neutral. I'm not very expressive except a little bit on court, but I'm more of an introvert. So even when it's a win or a loss, or whether it's my down or up, whatever it is, I'm generally very calm. So it's only after I come back home, I sit down and I just think about, okay, what do I do next? Or what is the action plan that I have to do next to be back or to, get stronger or get fitter? And that's how I go about it.
That's true for injuries also, that you're just looking at what the road ahead rather than what is happening now.
Well, I don't have a choice. I can't sit and moan about it for the next 20 days. I need to be back on court as soon as possible. So I need to put in the work that it needs. So I need maybe 1 day, 2 days. And after that, I'm like, okay, this is the work I have to do. I have to get back on court.
Is it really difficult? I mean, this is a lot of footballers especially feel this way when they come from a long-term injury like an ACL of sorts. That, I mean, it's a contact sport, so it's a different deal altogether. But trusting your body, trusting yourself to go physically all in is is important in these sports. And when you're coming from an injury, how do you do that?
Like you said, mind is the most strongest thing that one can have. And if you can really believe yourself that you can make it. There have been a lot of players in history who have had like major injuries or things like that, and who have come back and done their best in the immediate next tournament that they've played. So it's all about how you can believe in yourself and how you push through yourself, and how you are able to, trust through that process. Or when you walk onto the court, you're just going there to enjoy the sport. It's not about winning or losing, but it's about how much you're playing for the love of the sport. I think that's what makes a difference when you get back. And I think to a certain extent that you tend to respect the sport, and you also tend to have gratitude for the art that you're doing on court on a very different level after you come back from an injury.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point that you mentioned. Do you sort of cherish a win more if it's coming after an injury versus, say, if it's in a period where you're just hitting the ball well and doing everything right? Does it feel any different?
I mean, definitely every win feels special, but after the injury, of course, you definitely feel like all the work that you've put into has paid off, or like you feel like you've done your best and you're able to see the results. And I think that's what motivates an athlete at the end of the day to do their best and go further and, keep putting in more effort.
During rehab, during this period where you're recovering from an injury, from anything challenging physically, who or what really helps you stay patient, stay calm through this uncertainty of not knowing when you're going to come back and what lies ahead, sort of stuff?
I think my entire team, I have a very close knitted bond with my coaches, my physio, and my parents, where everybody, irrespective of what part of the day I am in, they're always, constantly with me and checking on me and asking me how's the progress, or how are you doing, or whether it's physically, mentally. Even my physio, I'm very close with her, and she works through the day with me. And yeah, so I think that's the most important part, to have someone to talk to at this phase, where who can check up on you and know that you're making a progress. I think that's a very important part.
Thank you so much, Shrivalli, for giving your time.
Thank you for having me.